Welcome everybody, my name is Dennis Levin. I'm retired pastor here at Queen Street United Methodist Church in downtown Kinston, North Carolina. And welcome to our Wesley Bible class. Today we're going to be studying the book of Ruth, chapter 2. And I don't know if we'll get to 3, but 3 and 4 are so tightly aligned that I don't know. We may just go through 2 today. We'll see how that goes. Okay, now Naomi had a kinsman on her husband's side, a prominent rich man of the family of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Let me go to the field and glean among the ears of grain behind someone in whose sight I might find favor." She said to her, "Go, my daughter." So she went. She came and gleaned in the field behind the reapers. Under Jewish law, if you were harvesting a crop, you had to leave the edges of the crop available for widows and orphans and strangers in the land. So if you were a foreigner, you could glean. You also had fair game behind the reapers. So if they left stuff on the field, then it was okay for somebody to come by and pick it up. Although the owner of the land did have the option of going over a second time. But you could follow the reapers, and if they left anything behind, you could pick it up. So that's what she's supposed to do because they're widows and they have no income. Okay? As it happened, she came to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was of the family of Elimelech. Just then Boaz came from Bethlehem. He said to the reapers, "The Lord be with you." They answered, "The Lord bless you." Then Boaz said to his servant who was in charge of the reapers, "To whom does this young woman belong?" The servant who was in charge of the reapers answered, "She is the Moabite who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab." She said, "Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the reapers." So she came, and she has been on her feet from early this morning until now, without resting even for a moment. Got a good work ethic. Okay, good to find a woman with a good work ethic. Good to find a good guy for that too. Anyway.
Also required that she have a break though.
Yeah, she had no break. She had no break. Now that's a bummer. Okay, you think that they didn't have many labor laws back then. Anyway, then Boaz said to Ruth, "Now listen, my daughter. Interesting. Do not go to glean in another field or leave this one, but keep close to my young women. Keep your eyes on the field that is being reaped and follow behind them. I have ordered the young men not to bother you. If you get thirsty, go to the vessel and drink from what the young men have drawn." Then she fell prostrate with her feet to the ground, with her face to the ground, and said to him, Why have I found favor in your sight that you should take notice of me when I am a foreigner? She has the accent, you know. Anyway. But Boaz answered her, "All that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband has been fully told me, and how you left your father and mother and your native land and have come to a people that you did not know before. May the Lord reward you for your deeds. May you have a full reward from the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come for refuge." Okay, these terms are going to play very prominently later in the story, but when it says the Lord reward you, okay, the word that's being used is like chesed. It is the word for grace in the Old Testament, and so it's like the Lord be gracious to you because you have been gracious. Okay, so that's the context of this. The Lord be gracious to you because the reward is really not a good translation for that, because if it's a reward, it's for something that you have done, okay? But grace is unearned. So,
This one says repay.
repay, yeah, repay, yeah. Okay. The Lord God of Israel, under whose wings. Okay. To take someone, we have, him under his wings and all that. This is an Old Testament phrase, and it means that the Lord has taken you under his protection, okay? That the Lord is prepared to shield you from gossip, rumors, anyone that would want to harm you. The Lord takes you under his wings. It means that the Lord has taken you under his protection. And this is going to figure prominently later on. At mealtime, Boaz said to her, "Come and dip your morsel in the sour wine." So she sat beside the reapers, and he heaped up for her some parched grain. She ate until she was satisfied, and she had some left over. When she got up to glean, Boaz instructed his young men, "Let her glean even among the standing sheaves, and do not reproach her. You must also pull out some handfuls for her from the bundles, and leave them for her to glean, and do not rebuke her."
So does this sounds like it's dangerous for the women to come and glean.
It is. It is. They don't have, and she especially does not have protection as a foreigner.
And a
Okay.
single.
So he knows that his men might be doing harm
Yes.
to the women that are gleaning.
Yes.
But he's a godly man.
He's a what?
A godly man.
He's a godly man.
But he allows his people to harm others.
He's also, we'll find out, Boaz is not only a godly man, but a godly man in terms that not only does Boaz follow the law, he's willing to stretch the law. Okay? So he's telling his men to drop some off for her, okay?
Help her out.
Which she's not entitled to. But because she's got this reputation, even as a foreigner, she has legitimacy as far as he's concerned. In fact, she as a foreign alien has more legitimacy than the local citizens. Just saying,
Yeah.
okay? Because they ain't dropping no wheat off or barley off for any of the other ladies in tow. Okay?
And women were just property.
They were, well, except that Naomi wasn't anybody's
Right,
property.
that's right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Right. So,
Generally.
yeah, the kind of people who are following along are the kind of people who have no protections really to speak of in that society. So you can see that the men can arbitrarily take advantage of any of them.
It's
It's
a
without
matter of,
recourse.
it's a matter of food.
Yeah,
Said he's told them not to touch her.
not to touch her, right. Which, there are other ladies out there, didn't tell them not to touch any of
touch
them.
them.
You know? I wonder about some of these things, But we have, to some degree, we have some of that going on in our own society today. Okay, a little bit of favoritism for this foreigner. Anyway,
But they're told to purposely leave the edges.
yes, they had to leave the edges of the fields.
For the people to come,
Yes,
Yeah, but when
And
they
then
come,
they-
they're not safe.
then that's not safe for them.
no, it's not. This is a rough society. This is the time of the judges. Okay, this is the time of the judges. And the time of the judges is not a good time for women, generally. Okay? I mean, we saw at the end of Judges how women were sometimes treated, okay? And even in the case in Judges, the woman who was abused had some social standing. These women who are gleaning the fields have none. So, yeah, it's not a good neighborhood, okay? And if they go out to glean, they won't starve to death, but they might be well abused while in the process. Okay?
and they're probably desperate.
They're terribly desperate. Otherwise, they wouldn't put themselves in that circumstance. But evidently, in the time of the judges, they really weren't being too particular about how you uphold Judaic law. Because men could get away with stuff, Okay. So she gleaned in the field until evening, then she beat out what she had gleaned. It was about an ephah of barley, it's about half a bushel, which is a lot.
Oh, it is.
Back then, that was, I mean, for one person to glean half a bushel of barley, you gotta figure she's gotta thresh all this stuff. So, yeah, that's a lot. I don't know how she carried the stalks, I really don't, because that's a lot. She picked it up and came into the town, and her mother-in-law saw how much she had gleaned. Then she took out and gave her what was left over after she herself had been satisfied. So this is kind of interesting because, you know, we look about Ruth is really taking care of her mother-in-law, and she did, okay? But she took her part first before Naomi got hers, okay? Anyway, her mother was grateful, right? Her mother-in-law was grateful. Said to her, "Where did you glean today, and where have you worked? Blessed be the man who took notice of you." Okay, so that's again the chesed, and she's offering a blessing on whoever it was. Whoever it was.
Doesn't she know?
She's going to find out. So she told her mother-in-law with whom she had worked and said, "The name of the man with whom I work today is Boaz." Then Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, "Blessed be he by the Lord, whose kindness has not forsaken the living or the dead." Okay, so what happened now is Naomi, up until this point, sweetie, up to this point felt that she was being cursed by God. But now she sees that God has looked out for her, and sometimes it takes a while for us to figure out that God's still looking out for us when we go through some tough times. And she has figured out that this is, the hand of the Lord is in this. Okay? She wants Ruth to know that too, that it wasn't just Boaz, that this is supernatural things going on. Okay? Naomi also said to her, "The man is a relative of ours, bingo, one of our nearest kin, double bingo." Then Ruth, the Moabite, said, "He even said to me, 'Stay close by my servants until they have finished all my harvest.'" Oh, he did? Whoa! Naomi said to Ruth, her daughter-in-law, "It is better, my daughter, that you go out with his young men, otherwise you might be bothered in another field," which is true. So stick with this guy. So she stayed close to the young women of Boaz, gleaning until the end of the barley and wheat harvest, and she lived with her mother-in-law. All right. So what's going on? What's going on is that if Boaz is a near relative, now a near relative could be, for Mahlon, Ruth's husband, he could have been an uncle, he could have been a cousin, okay? But he's in the zone. Now remember, the Levirate marriages, the brother of the dead man is supposed to marry his wife, and their offspring is supposed to be in the name of the dead man, okay? But that could extend to someone else if there isn't a brother. So a near relative, okay?
So mine says he's a guardian redeemer, which we know what that means, so he's obligated.
He is not obligated because he's not the brother. It could be, because now you're going out into the rest of the family. It could be another uncle. It could be another cousin. It could be somebody else. You know, it's a brother is obligated, but then you got this extended family. So there could be another one. We'll find out about that too. But you know, it's kind of an extended thing. Okay. So, okay, we'll get into chapter 3. Okay, understand now, this is a drama, and there are, in Hebrew especially, words have double meanings all the time. Okay? So what you can do with a double meaning is you can make it kind of an irony or a pun. Okay? You can take it either way, but the hint is that you're going to take it a certain way. Okay? So, Naomi's mother-in-law said to her, "My daughter, I need to seek some security for you that it may be well with you." Okay, so now Naomi is putting herself in the place of Ruth's mother, who would normally do the horse trading to get her married. So Naomi is saying, "Let me figure this out for you." Okay? Now here is our kinsman Boaz, with whose young women you have been working. See, he is winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. Now wash and anoint yourself and put on your best clothes and go down to the threshing floor, but do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. What does this mean? Okay, what does the word know mean in the Old Testament sense?
They have relations with each other.
That's right. Okay, so don't approach the guy until he's passed out drunk. Okay? Clever, these women, I'll tell you. Okay. And you want to look really good, too. Okay? Okay, when he lies down, observe the place where he lies, then go and uncover his feet and lie down, and he will tell you what to do. She said to her, "All that you tell me I will do." All right, here's another double meaning, folks. Okay? The word foot in Old Testament parlance also had a double meaning of boy parts. And so she's going to go, and he's passed out drunk, and she's going to uncover him. All right? So she went down to the threshing floor and did just as her, and she's going to lie down next to him.
She's a very obedient daughter-in-law.
She is. She's a good girl.
I don't think that's exactly right, though, but
I'm just saying, you know. Very obedient. Yeah. So she went down to the threshing floor, did as her mother-in-law had instructed her. When Boaz had eaten and drunk, and when he was in a contented mood, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. Then she came stealthily and uncovered his feet and lay down. All right. At midnight, the man was startled and turned over, and there, lying at his feet, was a woman. Oh, what have I done? I'm just wondering what went on here. You know, I've been passed out drunk, and who knows, I might be guilty of that. Okay, anyway. He said to her, "Who are you?" And she answered, "I am Ruth, your servant. Spread your cloak over your servant, for you are next of kin." Aha! Here we go. Now, he's not really next of kin. Okay? He is close kin, but he's not officially next of kin. In fact, he legally is not necessarily next of kin.
to her,
To her. To Naomi, yeah.
yes.
To her, no. Okay?
Okay, but see, my Bible says guardian redeemer, which to me means next of kin, the person that's obligated to marry her or take care of her.
He is.
But your interpretation is she's just a near kin.
This is totally optional for Boaz.
Okay.
Okay? This is totally optional for Boaz. He has an out. If he decides not to, he can choose not to. All right? But it's dark, and what he sees looks really good. So,
And he's drunk.
yeah, and he's kind of drunk. He's kind of drunk. Well, who are you? Okay. All right, but they're getting their heads together pretty good here, okay? She answered, "I'm Ruth, your servant next to kin." He said, "May you be blessed by chesed, by the Lord, my daughter. This last instance of your loyalty is better than the first. I'll bet it was. You have not gone after young men. Boaz is not a spring chicken. He's old.
I guess he was never been married.
Or his marriage, he might have been. He could take another wife. Okay? But the implication here is that he probably isn't, and he probably doesn't have offspring. Okay? Okay, you haven't gone after young men, whether poor or rich. And now, my daughter, do not be afraid. I will do for you all that you ask, for all the assembly of my people know that you are a worthy woman. She is a worthy woman, but she's a Moabite. Okay, let's drop back here. Okay, I don't know if you remember the story of Abraham's brother Lot, and left Sodom and Gomorrah and went off, and his wife got turned into a pillar of salt, so no more wifey. Okay, so what does he do? He goes off into a cave and he gets drunk. Okay, so his daughters feel like they've got no future. Okay, so they go into the cave and they uncover him and have relations with him. Okay, and that's how the Moabites began. And that's why the Moabites are always out of favor, because of this incestuous relationship that Lot had with his daughters, even though he was drunk at the time. At least that's what he said. So, so now we have another Moabite woman uncovering a guy, all right, in order to get something out of the relationship. He says, I'm fine with it. Okay.
Well, wouldn't he?
Well, he was drunk at the time. Okay. But now, though it is true that I am a near kinsman, there is another kinsman more closely related than I. Remain this night, and in the morning, if he will act as next of kin for you, let him do it. If he is not willing to act as next of kin for you, then the Lord, as the Lord lives, I will act as next of kin for you. Lie down until the morning. That's another double meaning. What does it mean in the Bible when it says somebody laid with someone? Okay? So what you can infer from this that the night was still young. Okay? Now,
So we're reading this as if Ruth is the one that's doing the wrong thing, but she's been sent by her mother-in-law. She's indebted to her mother-in-law.
oh yeah, let's just give her an excuse, why don't you?
Well, it's the truth.
Okay, poor innocent Ruth who goes into this drunk guy and
That's the way I
uncovers him.
feel.
Yeah.
I feel like poor innocent Ruth.
Never bring facts to a feeling fight. Anyway.
She's desperate too.
Yeah, she's desperate.
Right.
Of course. I'm not saying that the woman doesn't have a cover story and a motivation,
Right.
right? But she's doing the Moabite thing. Okay?
It's interesting in the Bible, though, that getting drunk doesn't seem to be necessarily wrong.
No.
And go back to Noah.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
And the kids covered him up.
Yeah.
And then the kids were
One kid who
admonished.
noticed him uncovered, he gets
He
cursed.
gets admonished because of what he did, and
Right.
Noah got drunk and nothing
It was
happened.
all right.
And
Nothing on Noah.
And here's another one, and then Lot. I mean,
It's good to be the patriarch.
yeah, it's just interesting that overindulging in alcohol doesn't seem to be pointed out as a sin or a grave travesty. I guess.
Well, that's true. That's true. But it doesn't give you an excuse. Just saying. Okay. All right. So, if in fact they had relations, there's this other guy involved, okay? But this other guy has options, okay? But if Boaz and Ruth had relations, then it wouldn't be kosher, for the other guy to exercise his options necessarily with Ruth. You know what I'm saying? Okay. It gets technical. Okay. So she lay at his feet until morning, but got up before one person could recognize another. They were all drunk. For he said, it must not be known that the woman came to the threshing floor. Then he said, bring the cloak you are wearing and hold it out. So she held it, and he measured out 6 measures of barley and put it on her back. Then she went into the city. She came to her mother-in-law and said, how did things go with you, my daughter? And she told her all that the man had done for her, saying, he gave me these 6 measures of barley, for he said, do not go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed. What does that mean?
She's a prostitute.
No, well, yeah. Yeah, you could say that. On the other hand, you could also say this is the bride price.
That's true too.
Okay? This is the thing I love about Ruth, is that you can take things a lot of different ways in the book of Ruth. Okay? All right.
So at this point, does he know that she's Naomi's daughter-in-law?
Yeah, oh, he's known that all along. He knew that all along. He even knew Mahlon, her husband.
Okay.
Okay? Let's see. Do not go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed. She replied, wait, my daughter, until you learn how the matter turns out, for the man will not rest, but will settle the matter today. He's on the hook. That's what Naomi's saying. He's on the hook.
Well, isn't that the case? I mean, really and truly, I'm trying to think, was it Reuben, Judah, who had sex with the daughter-in-law that had...
Tamar.
Tamar.
Yeah,
okay.
it was Judah
So
and Tamar.
Isn't that the rule, the law, because they had slept together?
Yeah.
Now he was obligated?
Well, no, he's not, because she's a foreigner, okay, and she has no rights,
Agreed.
okay? So, if he wanted to beg off, he could.
But Rachel and Leah, that's another example.
Yeah, yeah, that's another love story that went bad.
That's right.
But, anyway, so, okay, so now Ruth and Naomi are waiting in the wings, but we find out that there's another issue involved in chapter 4. And let's see. Okay, we'll try it. No sooner had Boaz gone up to the gate and sat down there than the next of kin of whom Boaz, and this guy is like so-and-so. They never mention his name. And they don't mention his name because he really doesn't end up being the guy. Okay, so Boaz said, come over, friend, sit down here, friend. And he went over and sat down, and Boaz took 10 men of the elders. Now we're looking about a contract of the city, and said, sit down here, so they sat down. He then said to the next of kin, Naomi, who has come back from the country of Moab, is selling the parcel of land that belonged to her kinsman Elimelech. Oh, who knew the guy had property? Okay, so he's been gone 10 years. Who's been running the thing? Who's been using the land? Nobody's going to let it just sit there fallow. Okay? Well, probably it's so-and-so. Because he's kin, right? And he's just looking out for their interests. All right? So I thought I would tell you of it and say, buy it in the presence of these sitting here, and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, redeem it. But if you will not, tell me so, that I may know, for there is no one prior to you to redeem it, and I will come after you. So he said, I will redeem it. Okay, now here's the guy. This is an embarrassment. The guy's been probably plowing the land, okay, all this time, and he's been doing it as a freebie. Okay? He hasn't paid anybody for it. So now a claimant comes back. Women could own land as an inheritance. Okay?
So wouldn't Naomi know that?
Oh, of course she does. Okay? So, yeah, she knows all about that. So anyway, Boaz says, why don't you, pay up for all the land use that you've had, and you can buy the land. And the guy says, yeah, that sounds fair. Okay, so he's going to do it. Then Boaz said, the day you acquire the field from the hand of Naomi, you are also acquiring Ruth the Moabite, the widow of the dead man, to maintain the dead man's name in his inheritance. So, oh, by the way, you get a twofer with the land. Because once you buy the land, you have to redeem Naomi, who's old, okay, and Ruth, who's not, okay. At this, the next of kin said, I cannot redeem it for myself without damaging my own inheritance. Take my right of redemption for yourself, for I cannot redeem it. Well, the word's gotten out that Boaz and Naomi have had relations. So that means that Boaz and Ruth have had relations. So what's going on here is that he can buy the land, he gets old Naomi, okay, but he really can't have Ruth, because Boaz has kind of damaged the property. So if Boaz marries Ruth and they have offspring, that offspring has a claim to so-and-so's new land. So that's why he says, if I buy the land and then you and Ruth have a kid, then I lose everything. And I'm stuck with this old woman. Okay? So, so he says, just go ahead, just buy it, just take it, you know. He says, it's not a good investment for me, all right? Now this was the custom in former times in Israel concerning redeeming and exchanging to confirm a transaction. The one took off a sandal and gave it to the other. This is the manner of attesting it in Israel. So when the next of kin said to Boaz, acquire it for yourself, he took off his sandal. Then Boaz said to the elders and all the people, today you are witnesses that I have acquired from the hand of Naomi all that belonged to Elimelech and all that belonged to Chilion and Mahlon, and I have also acquired Ruth the Moabite, the wife of Mahlon, to be my wife to maintain the dead man's name on his inheritance, in order that the name of the dead man may not be cut off from his kindred, and from the gate of his native place. Today you are witnesses. Then all the people who were at the gate, along with the elders, said, we are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your house like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the house of Israel. May you produce children in Ephrathah, and bestow a name in Bethlehem, and through the children that the Lord will give you by this young woman, may your house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah. So, you know, bringing in all those old love stories. Isn't that cool? All right. I think we're there. But we're going to go into the genealogy that follows from this, and then we're going to start into the horrible book of 1 Samuel and continue to 2 Samuel, which is not so good either. So anyway, but that's the love story, and those are the legalities that are involved. So this is like my Old Testament professor would say, or my New Testament professor would say, when you look at a double meaning, you can pay your money and take your choice.
So the story is a play, but are these
Yeah.
real people?
Probably so.
Okay, because then the lineage of Ruth.
Right.
Name
Right.
of Jesus.
Yeah, they took a story and they turned it into a drama.
Okay.
Like that.
Closed with the sand.
Close with the same. See you next week.